morning again, guys, from Tampa Bay. It is a chilly morning here. We are finally catching the effects of that big cold front. It's pushing down from the north. It hit us overnight. We had huge storms for several hours, and now the winds and the cold are here. I'm going to go out for a little bit of a fun ride just because it's been over a week since I've even had time. Open. That's weird. Since I've even had time to get out and ride anywhere, because I've been swamped with work and just haven't had the schedule. Then I need to stop over at Sam's Club. I have to go over there because of the wife. For those of you that work at home like me, you'll probably understand this. She thinks because I work at home, galloping horse dog, she thinks because I work at home that not only should I do all the house chores because, you know, I have all the time in the world and I'm home, but all my business supplies are general household supplies. So I went to mail out a package and I'm out of my padded envelopes. Woo, it's chilly. Weather said it was, thought I was a little high on the suspension here. Let me fix this real quick. What was I saying? Standard, yeah, that's fine. I want that down. She thinks that all my business supplies are general household supplies. So I'll go to mail something out like I did today and, I have no envelopes, or I have no stamps, or my paper's out, or, you know, everything, ink, you name it. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal if she replaced it, or at the very least let me know I was out of the stuff. So I've had to resort to hiding my stamps. I'll put them underneath my mouse pad or underneath my printer or some other spots if she happens to find one. But I need to mail something out today and I need that little padded envelope because I don't feel like spending. Oh, come on. What are you doing? I see her rustling around in the car. Oh, I'm driving. Oh, I guess I'll put on my signal and turn now. Jesus Christ. Keep going. Are you serious? You waiting for an invitation? God. So to continue on with my story about the annoying email and the horn, before I was sidetracked by the guy talking to me about the sinkhole in the last video, I decided to get a new horn for the bike. I didn't do that last time. My previous one was the 2006, previous generation. And that's the one thing they really, for whatever reason, downgraded on this generation. The previous generations had two horns, a high and a low tone, so you had two physical horns, and it was okay. I mean, it was usable. I never felt the need to replace it. Would have been nice, but I didn't feel like I had to for safety concerns or anything like that. Well, this one I do. They took away one of the horns. So it is laughable at best what kind of horn this thing has. I do it right now with this guy. I'd probably think I'm honking at him. I mean, I've heard scooters that have better horns than this. Speaking of a scooter over there, either he's got a Mohawk or a camera. I think it's a Mohawk on his helmet. You probably can't see it from here. Yeah, it's a Mohawk. It's just the basic legal requirement horn to say they have one. It is an absolute joke. You can barely hear the thing over the wind noise on the bike. If you're in a car, there is no way that's going to get your attention. Absolutely no way that anyone would think you're right there, like in an emergency situation. It's meep meep, It's just pathetic. I'll get going here and I'll beep it for you. So anyway, I wanted to upgrade the horn. It came to light because the wife and I were out a week and a half ago or so, and usually in the situations like this where somebody's coming into my lane, the horn is not something I even jump to. I usually just get out of the way, you know. If there's something happening, the first thing you should do is protect yourself. I see way too many people on YouTube making a huge deal out of, oh, the guy cut me off, or oh, the guy almost did this and that. Yet they have time to sit there, see it, react to it, not move, rev their engine, make a lot of noise, yell at the person, flick them off, and then claim, oh, he almost hit me. No, he didn't. It wasn't even close. You had several seconds that you were completely aware of it happening, and you chose to do something other than just hit the brakes. I mean, that's all you freaking have to do in most situations. Hit the brakes, swerve out of the way, or give it some gas, whatever you have to do to get out of the situation. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. If you crash with a car, you're going to lose. Okay, you can be right as rain. You can feel so great about yourself. Oh, that other guy was the one that caused the accident. Well, guess what? Yeah, it already happened. It caused the accident, and you probably got really screwed in that equation. So my first reaction is always get the hell out of the situation. And usually it's not that big of a deal. But in this situation we were in, we were kind of boxed in, and I didn't have really anywhere to go. I did brake. I mean, I got out of the situation enough, but it was right next to me, and I hit the horn, and the guy heard it. Luckily, I was right next to him, and he just turned his head and actually looked like he should have done before trying to change lanes, and went back into his lane. But just that moment made me realize how pathetic and useless, and really it should be illegal, this little horn really is. So there are a lot of options for horns. There are two basic types that you can choose. Standard electric diaphragm, which is what comes on this. I'll beep it right now. Don't want to scare this guy with the bike though. There we go. That's it. Freaking ridiculous. You can get this kind of type, just bigger and louder, and that's what comes on most cars. And most of them have that honk sound to it, so it sounds like a car, because that's basically what they're designed to do, is go and replace piece of crap car horns. So they're louder, but I don't really care for the sound of them. They're deeper tone. They're not really nice sounding, if that makes any sense. And then you have air horns. And you have a lot of different brands and types out there, different tones. You have single, multiple, high, low, all different kinds, combinations. The only disadvantage to that is they're large. Because they are air horns, they're driven by a small air compressor, and then they have some type of trumpet. And it's either actually trumpet shaped, and most of those give you a higher pitch tone, and most of them are multi-tone, so they can give you that really cool Italian sound. Think Ferrari or Lamborghini. But those are very large. And the problem is fitting them on a bike. The stock location here is right in front of the radiator, just behind the front wheel. There's no room at all in there to mount anything large. This really doesn't have any space inside the fairings to mount anything large. Some bikes do. Some bikes, like Harleys, you can just mount them externally because you can get them all in chrome. So they at least match the bike and they look nice. And a lot of guys do that. They'll mount it opposite their air cleaner, so it actually looks like a nice piece of equipment. But I mean, it's big. 6-8 inches square, a few inches deep. You can't mount that on this bike. But there are a few very compact units. Now they do sacrifice a little bit of volume, but it's still day and night from the stock horn. Whew, I want to turn my grip heaters on. It is nippy out. What is the temp anyway? 51 plus wind chill, so yeah, that's why I'm feeling it. Fingers are going a little bit chilly here. So there are a few compact horns you can get, and I got, which one did I get? I got the Stable Nautilus Sport Compact, and there are two versions of it. There's a single unit and there's a dual unit. Now the single unit plugs right in to the stock location here. You can mount it, the same screw, absolutely nothing to mod. You just unplug the wire from the stock horn, plug the wire into the new horn, screw it in with one bolt, and you're good to go. If you're on the older generations, you can get the dual horn unit and do the same thing. Now there are some people that'll say you have to put in a separate relay and run a new power wire because they pull a little bit more electricity than the stock horns. But there are tons of people that have just used the stock wiring for years without any issues. So that's what I'll be doing. I mean, yes, I understand that technically on paper the rating is a little bit beyond the stock horn, but literally I can't find anybody that has an issue, and all the forums are just filled with tons of people that say no problem whatsoever. So I don't have any problem doing that. Now me, I have to retrofit this to kind of make it like the previous generation, and that just involves running a new wire. Big deal. So I'll do that, and I'll put in the two horns. The price difference is only about $8 between the kits for the single or dual. So even if you right now only have intentions of doing a single, get the dual, because in the future, if you want to wire up that second one, you spend a whole $8. Ooh, big deal. It's better than deciding later on you wanted to do it and oops, too late. Because you can't buy the second one separately. You can only buy the one tone in a single kit, the 500 that comes in a 4 and a 500 hertz kit. So if you want the 5 alone, you can do that, but you can't buy the 4 alone. At least not that I found. Alright. Grips are warming up, bike's warming up. Tires are still pretty cold, I'm sure. I guess I'll head back towards Sam's now. So the horn, I think, should be here in 2 days. What's today? Tuesday. I think I saw that FedEx had it scheduled for Thursday. So I should be able to get that in and have a new video maybe on Friday for that. And for those of you that have been following along on my other channels and things for years, you'll know that I had the big issues with the back room and the roof and all that. And I had my last roofer seal it up well enough. I mean, I had some very, very tiny, small drips still, but absolutely manageable, no big deal. Well, the other day, I'm looking back there, and I literally was having trouble sleeping because this thing was on my mind. The center of the roof was dipping in a good 5-6 inches, and the snap together panels, they can only flex so much before they're going to come right out of that steel frame. The beams themselves were bending down and even torquing sideways to let the panels droop, especially the center one. It was just really bothering me. So I had the bright idea to shore it up, and I'll show you a picture here of what I did. Basically, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do until I got to Home Depot. But the other morning, I went over and just saw what they had. I was going to maybe use a pipe or something. They have these landscaping ties on sale. They're basically 4x4s. So I got 3 of those for $11. I cut one to the width between the steel rails. I cut one to the height I needed that I knew I wanted to prop it up to, minus the height of one of the beams. And then one a few inches shorter than that. And then what I did is I used my floor jack to jack it up and then put the longer one underneath and dropped it down in place. And it actually worked really well. I propped the whole roof up a few inches, I flattened it out, straightened it out, so now it's not dipping, and I feel very confident that it's not going to collapse. Alright, that was my main concern. Of course, everything flexed and moved around when I did that, and of course, last night and yesterday, we had those big storms. I didn't know they were coming, but that's okay. I mean, it opened up a few new drips here and there, but it kind of settled down this morning. So I don't know if things just needed to move around and shift, and drain, and do what they needed to do. But I think the drips are going to stabilize. And like I said, I feel a lot better that it's not going to collapse on me. But what I also did is I had another idea. You know, the whole thing was to keep that room. But you know what? It's just storage. We don't use that guest bed, and it's ruined now anyway because it got rained on, it got all moldy and everything like that. Or not moldy, it had roof tar and all that kind of residue on it. And nobody stays back there anyway. Other than that, 99% of the time, I'm only using that room for my little work table back there, just when I have to, you know, work on something. But other than that, it's just storage, and half the stuff in there is trash. I mean, I wouldn't mind throwing it out. The wife's stuff, I don't know, she'll have problems throwing stuff out because she's a miniature hoarder / pack rat, runs in her family. But other than that, we can make room somewhere else for some of the storage bins and stuff we have in there. It's not that big of a deal. So I had the idea of trying to make that an indoor room. It's a kit room that the previous owner built, but he didn't do it right. That's the whole problem. There's no problem with adding on those kit rooms, but he just did not do the construction right, especially when it has to do with the roof and how it ties in. That's the major problems we're having. So my thought is, level the entire thing, even the outdoor patio, which has a so-so roof on it. Level it all down to the slab and make one really nice big outdoor patio just with some posts and beams and a covered roof. Just basically a carport. Just something where the majority of it is covered by the rain, like the outdoor patio part is now. So I can still work out there, I can still do my videos out there, and I can still barbecue. And you know what, if we have to have some stuff in storage like that, I can just get one of those plastic storage sheds. They even sell them right here at Sam's for a couple $100. Well, a few $100. And we can stick that out in the corner of the pad. But making both those spaces one big outdoor patio would be awesome, because I use that outdoor patio all the time, but it's really small. You know, it's so small you can't even fit a full-size table out there. And that would be awesome. I mean, I would have, well, let's see, about 35 by 40 for a nice big outdoor covered patio. I think that would be awesome. And my only cost would be building the roof structure, which is a hell of a lot cheaper than trying to replace those panels and fix that room. You know, for what? It's just junk. So I think that would be really cool. And then, if I have to hire somebody, it wouldn't be a problem, because if I demo the whole thing down, they're not fixing anything. And no one should have an issue with the project. That's the problem I had with this. Nobody will touch it. I mean, nobody. I tried to hire multiple crews, and nobody wants part of it because of the way it's tied into the house. Alright, so I'm at Sam's here. I gotta pick up those envelopes, get my workday started. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Check out the site, TwoWheelObsession.com. Lots of other new stuff up recently. We've had some beautiful ride videos from FJR Paul, and J-Man Rides just put up a really cool coverage of the LA bike show that he was at. So definitely check those out and more. See you next time.